we talked about the story of Girl Scouts. Because I have to tell you that across the country, I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of people. And the first question I get is, so how's Girl Scouts doing? You know, people have perceptions about our brand, about what we do in this country. And when we get the opportunity to actually say what we're doing, people sit back, and they sit back in awe. We talk about the 102 years of giving back to this great country. We talk about the 59 million living Girl Scout alum in this country who've gone on to do great things, to raise families, lead states, lead corporations, go to the moon, right? And we talk about the fact that we've done this by reinvesting in local communities. And so today, as we talk about the Girl Scout movement, we talk about how we're embracing our history. And I love the fact we have our Girl Scout alum here, and may I say, your uniform is fabulous. That we have to embrace our history, we have to embrace our traditions, because that is what has made our movement strong. But we also have to balance that with the fact we've got to invest in the future. And the fact of the matter is, Bridget and her Girl Scout friends here are not only into camping, they're into technology. They're into figuring out what they're going to do in their lives. So we as a movement have to transform what we do and what we bring to girls every day. So that's why at the national level, we're investing in new program opportunities around STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And so you're going to see that more and more. And I am so excited to hear about your Change It Up program here in your council that talks about financial literacy, about giving girls the opportunity to understand that they need to invest in their future. And of course, we all know that we've run for many, many years the largest entrepreneurial program for girls in the world. It's called our Cookie Program. On an annual basis, in 1/4 of the year, they raise $800 million. The military even wants to talk to me and say, oh, how do you do that? Right? And the fact of the matter is, I don't get paid. It stays local, because these girls reinvest it back in the local community. They're funding most of your nonprofits, most of your animal shelters, your comfort meal sites, your senior centers. Right? Because the girls get it. They're philanthropists, even before they know how to say that name. So we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to support a national program that brings amazing STEM opportunities for girls. But we're also going to reinforce our roots. And our roots are Litz. We've always been green, right? Long before it was cool. And so we are going to start thinking about how do we reinvest in our camps? How do we think about our outdoor opportunities for girls? Because today we're raising the first generation of the youth who have been raised inside homes in front of computers versus outside. So how do we teach kids to embrace nature without being scared of it? Okay. Well, we've been doing that. We've been doing that for decades. In addition, we will continue to be the voice for girls, because unfortunately, girls are still opting out of these opportunities. We have our own research institute in New York. Right? We talk about the needs of girls. And when we talk to girls across the country, they tell us the great things they want to do. But unfortunately, by the 4th grade, they're opting out of leadership roles. They're literally bringing down their hands in classrooms because every time they try to say what they think and what they want to do, people call them bossy. So that's why my friend Sheryl Sandberg called me this year and said, Anna, we want to ban bossy around girls. And so she called another friend, Condoleezza Rice, you may know her. Condi? Heard of her? Come on now. Interesting side point, being a historian. Did you know that all of the former female Secretary of State were all Girl Scouts? Did you know that? Of course. And when we were talking, I was talking to Condi, my friend. She was telling me the impact that Girl Scouts had on her, and so we went around the country talking to people about, yes, banning the word bossy around girls, but most importantly, across the globe, people were saying girls, leadership, and Girl Scouts in the same sentence. And it was time, right? So this is what we're going to do here today. It's going to start here in Pennsylvania. It's going to start here in Hershey. We're going to start talking about our movement again in a way that translates. That people clearly understand the need to invest in girls. Because I will tell you, I've invested in other systems. And I know the First Lady of Pennsylvania will tell you what they take and do with state and federal funds here. I used to sit around the budget table every year in the state of Arizona and help the governor decide how many prison beds to build in the future. And you know how we used to do that? Based on the 4th grade dropout rate in Arizona. That's how early it starts. So I got tired of investing in those systems. That's why I'm here today. That's why I know you are so passionate about our movement, because we know what happens when you invest in a girl. That's why we're pleased to have launched the largest campaign for girl leadership in this country. We will raise $1 billion for girls in the United States by 2020. We'll do it. It'll be the first time in history that we've raised that amount of money. Now people say, you can't do that. There's no way. I said, of course we can. $1 billion. I can tell you how many prisons that will build. I will tell you how many Super Bowl commercials you can make for $1 billion. So I think $1 billion invested in girls is a good choice. And I will tell you, I just got a report last week that when we started our campaign, people said, you'll never do it, you'll never do it. Well, I can tell you, we've been in this campaign in partnership with the 112 councils across the country, and we're right now at the $435 million mark in our campaign. So by being here this evening, you're part of that campaign to get her there, to get girls into the future, allowing us to invest in them, because they invest in us every day. Right? So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for keeping this movement going for another generation of girls. I want to congratulate all the volunteers and the girls in the audience today who are being recognized. You are our role models. And I love meeting Sparky here tonight with all of her historians around her. Because for me, again, history is important. Because it really gives you an indicator of what's coming in the future. And the reason I embrace history, and I've been told I'm the 19th CEO of Girl Scouts of the USA, but I'm the first to have an archival exhibit in our office. The reason I do that, and I will tell you that I'm also part of the public tour. If you go to our headquarters and you sign up to do a tour, you will end up in my office. And so in the last 2 years, I've hosted over 2,000 girls and volunteers in my office, and I sit them down and we chat. And I get advice from my bosses, the girls, and I show them the history. And they say, Eagle-Lynn, why are you so focused on history? And I said to them, well, because history will tell you where you've been. And it will tell you things that worked and didn't work. But what it will also do is give you resiliency. Because in this movement, we've seen a lot of things happen in this country. And I'm proud to say in our history, it will show that we've always been a very inclusive organization. Long before a federal government told us to desegregate troops of girls, we were doing it. And as we look into the future, we will use our history as an anchor, but we will also target a new North Star. And why I was so excited to be here this evening is that in the room today, among us, are our history makers. There's a future president in the room. There's a young lady who's going to find a cure for cancer that's going to save millions of lives. There's a young woman in the room that's going to go on to tell the story of this movement to have an impact on millions of other girls. And there are dozens of individuals here today who are investing in a movement that will not only change the history of this country, but will change the future of our globe.